Injective is a blockchain that's built for finance and known for being lightning fast and highly interoperable with other blockchains. Today's video is an overview of Injective. I'll talk about what Injective is, how to get started using it, some of the top applications in the Injective ecosystem. We'll talk a bit about the Injective INJ token and its tokenomics, and then we'll look at opportunities and risks with Injective right now. Welcome back to Dynamo DeFi. My name is Patrick. As a reminder, this is solely for educational purposes, and this video isn't a suggestion that you do or do not invest in any of the cryptos that I'm talking about. And I'll share that I personally hold no position in Injective. And now let's get into the video. First, a bit about what exactly Injective is. They brand themselves as the blockchain built for finance. And basically the idea is that it's a layer 1 blockchain that you can run financial applications as if you were interacting with some sort of centralized exchange, but it's entirely on-chain. And they are backed by some of the biggest names in crypto, including Binance, Pantera, Jump, and Mark Cuban himself. They're also known for being very fast. Their block time is only 0.8 seconds, and you can see that overall Injective has processed over 300 million on-chain transactions. Something else that they're known for is that they are highly interoperable. So Injective is in the Cosmos ecosystem, and what that means is that it can use Cosmos's IBC to easily transfer assets with other Cosmos-based blockchains like the Cosmos Hub, Osmosis, and others. But it's also highly interoperable with Ethereum, Solana, and other non-Cosmos chains. We'll see in a second when we use some of the applications that you can easily deposit funds to those applications from other major blockchains. Injective has been around for a while at this point. They were first incubated by Binance Labs back in 2018, and their initial product was an on-chain order book. Fast forward to Q4 2021, and they launched the Injective mainnet, turning Injective into its own layer 1 that other applications could be built on top of. And since then, they've been iterating and improving and launched a lot of other features, as you can see here in their roadmap. And really the general idea when you think about Injective is they're building infrastructure to build industrial scale finance applications totally on chain. So they're fast, they're interoperable, and I would argue they are relatively easy to use compared to most on-chain applications. And we'll look a bit more at some of the specific applications in the ecosystem in a second. And one of the cool problems they're solving is because they're fast and because they're so interoperable with other blockchains, is that in the world of DeFi right now, there's all these different exchanges and they have very fragmented liquidity. So different exchanges will have their own order books, they'll have their own liquidity pools, and basically that liquidity is spread out across a lot of different exchanges, and as a user it leads to a suboptimal experience. So what Injective has is they have their own on-chain order book, and they actually allow other applications to build their own front ends and tap into that on-chain order book. Their flagship exchange that taps into that order book is known as Helix. They brand it as the premier decentralized crypto exchange and allows you to quickly trade assets on chain in a totally gas-free and interoperable environment. And we'll look at Helix a bit more in a minute. If you want to get started on Injective, then first place you can go is you can go to the Injective Hub. That's hub.injective.network, and you could bridge some funds over onto Injective. So for example, you can bridge, like I said before, from most major chains. You have Ethereum via Wormhole, you have Solana, you have Arbitrum, and then you have a ton of different Cosmos chains. You've got Kujira, you've got Secret Network, you've got Osmosis, you have Axelar, Cosmos Hub, and then you also have Polygon on here. So there's a lot of different ways you can bridge to Injective. One other thing I thought was really cool is that if you want to connect to Injective itself, then you can actually probably use whatever crypto wallet you're already using. You can use MetaMask, you can use Kepler, you can use Ledger, you can use Trust Wallet. And so whatever wallet you're using, chances are you can already connect it to Injective, so you don't actually have to make an entirely new wallet. Once you're on Injective, there's a lot of interesting things you can do. You can stake, for example, and right now it has 16.44% APR, and you can see that there's just over 43 million INJ tokens staked. But we'll talk a bit more about INJ token in a minute. Another way you can get to Injective is that if you want to use this Helix exchange directly, then once you connect with your wallet, I just connected with my MetaMask, then you'll have the option to deposit funds into your account. And like with the bridge, if you go to deposit into your account, then you'll see that you can pretty seamlessly deposit from most major networks. So this is really easy to access. You can deposit from Ethereum, you can deposit from other Cosmos chains, you can deposit from Solana, most of the same ones we saw over there on the Injective Hub. And then once you're on here, there's some pretty interesting things you can do. First thing you might want to do is you might want to swap to whatever token you were going to trade in. For example, if you bridged over ETH, maybe you wanted to trade that ETH for USDT. And once you're ready to start trading on Injective, you'll see that it looks and feels just like a centralized exchange. However, unlike a centralized exchange, it's entirely on chain. So you keep custody of your funds and you can set limit orders, you can market buy. They also have a module for trading perpetuals. So if you want to take on a bit more risk and start trading on leverage, you can also do that on Helix. Unfortunately, I can't show you the perpetual order book because I'm in the US and they wouldn't accept my VPN. They also have trading bots, so you can trade smarter using automated strategies. Those are their words, not mine. But use these sorts of things with caution. However, if you want to use a spot grid trading bot, if that's your thing, then they have a built-in interface to do this on Helix. And yeah, it's pretty cool. No fees and very seamless. Like I said, centralized exchange quality application. Some other applications on Injective that are interesting is there's one known as Black Panther. This is an asset management protocol that, quote, allows you to achieve superior returns. Basically, they have these vault strategies that use trading bots to earn you APR on your coins. And you can see over the past 7 days, they earned a 46.2% APY. And keep in mind, that's not always going to be the case. And there could actually be times where these vaults lose money. However, for those of you who are willing to take that risk, you can see that overall it has performed fairly well over time. They also have an airdrop coming, so potentially you may want to use this. Another interesting application is Mito, website mito.fi. And like Black Panther, they have vaults with automated trading strategies. Again, use these applications with caution. However, if you believe in a new network and if you want to get in early on things in crypto, you have to try out things that still have some risk. Just understand what you're getting into. Another website that might interest you if you're interested in Injective is their NFT exchange, that is talus.art. So I haven't personally checked out any Injective NFTs. However, if you really like Injective, maybe you want to rep it on your social media, they do have an NFT exchange on here. Another application that's interesting is Astroport. Astroport is actually a multi-chain application in the Cosmos ecosystem, and it was originally on the Terra network prior to that network's crash in 2022. That was the original Terra network, now known as Terra Classic. And here you can swap, you can exchange tokens as you would on other decentralized exchanges. And what might be interesting to you is if you look right now, because of the high incentives, they actually have quite good rewards for Injective. For example, if you pair Injective with USDT, it has a combined APR of 59.32%. USDT in wrapped ETH is 71.88%, however, only has $100,000 of liquidity. Something to keep in mind with this is that part of the reason why this APR is high is because it's new, so eventually probably more liquidity will flow in. Another reason it's high is because it might represent the fact that investors have deemed this to be risky since it was newly deployed on Injective fairly recently. So just keep that in mind. Understand that going into a new protocol is always risky, but that's why you get rewarded with such a high APR. Then the final application I wanted to highlight is known as Neptune. Neptune is a lending and borrowing market, and they're still in testnet right now. However, they have a Galaxy campaign that you can use to actually gain early access. And you never know, it doesn't hurt to get early access to protocols. Sometimes they like to reward early users. All right, so now that we understand what Injective is and how to use it, let's talk a bit about the Injective INJ token. If we hop over to CoinGecko, then we can see that the current market cap is around 1.3 billion, placing it in rank 46 of all tokens. And then one thing I really like, and this is one of the benefits of having a project that's been around for a while, is that the fully diluted valuation is only 1.6 billion. And I say only not because that's not high, but because that is pretty close to the market cap. In fact, circulating supply is 83.755 million, and total supply is only 100 million. So over 83% of the tokens are already in circulation. And you want to be careful with this. When some projects have like 10% of the tokens in circulation, that can be very, very risky. However, in Injective, most of the tokens are already in circulation. If you look at the performance, this thing has just been on a tear this year. It's up really over 10x. I mean, I'm kicking myself for not getting into this sooner. I really am. But if you're thinking of getting in now, just be aware of the fact that it's gone up. You kind of have to adopt a zero-based approach where you look at it from where it is now and say, okay, well, I didn't get in earlier. I'm going to get in at the price I get at. Current market cap is 1.3 billion. Do I think that could go to 5 billion? Do I think it could go to 10 billion? And that's the way to look at it. However, you should understand two things. First is that there's a lot of people who got in over here who are currently sitting on profits. And if the market turns, if they decide that maybe they want to pivot to something that's hotter right now, some of those people could take profits. The other thing to consider is that even if it performs well from now on in terms of percentages, most of the move has already happened. And the point of this isn't to FUD Injective. I actually like this project a lot, but just be aware of that before you're investing. As far as the token itself, what is it used for? Well, if you're doing trades on Helix, then you'll find that you actually don't need to pay a fee, so you don't need the INJ token. However, if you're doing other things on the Injective network, you will need the INJ token to pay for fees, like if you're transferring things between wallets, if you're staking, if you're using many of these other applications. The other thing you can use it for is you can stake it, like I mentioned before, and earn a 16% APR. And finally, something else that's really cool about the Injective token is that all these other applications, these exchanges that tap into the Injective order book, they actually pay a fee to Injective, and part of that fee is used to buy back and burn the INJ token. So if we go to their website here, we can see that almost 6 million INJ tokens have already been burnt. So that's something to consider with the circulating supply, right? It looks like 16, 17% are going to come into circulation, but wait, there's already been almost 6 million INJ tokens burnt. So really, actually, the circulating supply, or the tokens that have ever been in circulation, is higher than it looks because so many tokens have been burnt. As far as future unlocks, what you need to consider is that there is one upcoming unlock in 60 days, and that is about 4.38% of the circulating supply. And then once that's done, actually, all of the tokens will be in circulation, so you won't have to worry about INJ unlocks ever again. Finally, let's talk about the risks and opportunities of Injective. To start, the opportunities. Let's look at the positives. The volume has been increasing and actually had its best day ever just a week and a half ago on November 12th, 2023. Also, I would say that this application they've built, these applications they're building, feel to me like a lot of what I imagine the future of on-chain trading looks like. It looks like a centralized exchange. It feels like a centralized exchange. However, it's on-chain. And if we look at trends, we've seen more and more DeFi activity, more and more crypto trading has been moving from centralized exchanges to on-chain exchanges. And Helix Injective seem well positioned to take advantage of that. Additionally, it's cross-chain and interoperable. I'm of the firm belief that eventually users won't even know which blockchain they're using, and Injective is basically built for that future because when you deposit funds into your account, you can do it from an Ethereum wallet, you can do it from a Cosmos wallet, you can do it from a Solana wallet. All you know is that you are depositing to Helix. So the focus is on the application, the use, not on the fact that you are necessarily on Injective itself. Another thing that I like is the tokenomics. The fact that almost all the tokens are in circulation, and soon all of them will be, not to mention the fact that they've already burned a good number of tokens. These tokenomics are very, very solid as far as I'm concerned. Now let's talk a little bit about the risks. So one risk I see is that I think TVL has its flaws, as I've talked about many times on this channel. However, Injective's TVL is fairly low compared to its market cap, right? Market cap is 1.3 billion. TVL is currently only 13 million. And while that doesn't affect their ability to run applications, to me, a higher TVL would signal more trust and more usage in terms of monetary value of the entire Injective ecosystem. Another thing to note is that the TVL has actually been decreasing recently over the past few weeks. Another risk, like I mentioned earlier, is simply that the price has gone up a lot. So although it could still do better, especially if we go into a bull run, it is already in the top 50. So buying a token that's in the top 50 is very different from buying a token that's, for example, rank 200 or 300. Because, for example, to do a 10x, it basically has to break into the top 10. Finally, another risk that I see is that they do have competitors. For example, DYDX recently moved from being a layer 2 to launching their own mainnet on Cosmos as well. And like Injective, they're building on Cosmos and they are also building an on-chain order book. So they face fierce competition because DYDX has been around for a while and is one of the most used applications in crypto. If you want to learn about more upcoming trends and interesting projects in crypto, I have a weekly newsletter where I highlight the top trends of the week, the top on-chain analysis and stats, as well as a tool to help you on your crypto journey. And for more videos like this, be sure to like this one and subscribe. Until next time, this is Dynamo DeFi.